Cinema Classics is sponsored by the Gateway Film Center and is produced by John DeSando and Johnny DiLoretto. Listen to shows online at wcbe.org. I'm John DeSando.
And I'm Johnny DiLoretto. This is Cinema Classics.
It is, and this is election time.
Oh my God.
So can we think of any movies that might help people through these difficult times?
I don't know to distract maybe. Yeah, to distract them from the process. I've never been a big politically themed movie guy.
Okay.
I mean, I enjoy a good one, but it seems like they're few and far between, don't you think?
Yeah, I enjoyed Primary Colors.
Primary Colors, Mike Nichols' take on
Yeah.
the Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
It was such a strange movie at the time because John Travolta was still riding that Pulp Fiction wave of success.
Yes.
And so to see him in that vein
Yes.
was a little jarring.
Yes.
But it is a very charming movie and a very, spry, I would call it, a spry comedy.
Yeah, it reminded me that there are very few films that deal with that Randy kind of character that Clinton was, that also have the global implications of a presidential election. So I found that one in many ways to be entertaining and maybe instructive, though I don't know how instructive.
Yeah, I don't know. This is Mike Nichols at his, most deft.
He is so
Mike
good.
Nichols, obviously responsible for some of the great, movies of the late '60s and early '70s, and then by the mid '80s, and certainly by the time Primary Colors came out, he was more, interested in just doing these light, fluffy comedies.
Yeah, until he came to Virginia Woolf.
Well, that was 1967. I said that. That's
did.
before. This is Mike Nichols being kind of. I feel like maybe in the hands of somebody who had more to say.
Well,
Primary Colors might have been a different movie.
Well, I know you and you have told me a little bit about The Candidate.
And that's one that I enjoy returning to every once in a while. Early '70s, Robert Redford, before All the President's Men, I think. He plays the son of a California senator, or governor rather, and he's this young, idealist, good-looking dude, right? And they think, hey, here's somebody who we might be able to run against the long-standing Republican candidate for senator. And so the promise is, hey, look, his name is McKay. We'll let you do and say whatever you want on the campaign trail. We just want to put up a fight here. And he gets sucked into the machinery. And, he enters on that principle of being able to say what he wants, and he's starts out being very critical of what's going on in California. But he gets eaten up and chewed up by that machine. And by the end of the movie, I don't think it's a spoiler to say, he actually wins the election, but then doesn't know what to do.
Really? Can there be a president like that?
Yeah,
that's
like,
not possible.
I was just doing this. And now, there are real consequences.
The classic one that I like in 1964, The Best Man, with Henry Fonda and Cliff Robertson.
Okay.
And I think I like it because it asks the candidates to make some moral decisions, and particularly Fonda is very good for this, for being tortured by what he should disclose about his opponent or not.
Right.
Whether to play dirty or not. It seems to me that dirty politics now is the name of the game.
Yeah,
and
I guess it always has been, but now it just seems so pronounced and grotesque.
Yeah, and accepted. Where the attention of The Best Man is that, do you reveal or do you not? Do you play dirty or not? And I think currently there are politicians who play dirty regardless.
Right.
We're probably looking at, and since this show, I'm sure we'll have a nominee for the Supreme Court by the time this show is out.
Yeah.
But there's an element of dirty politics in that.
Sure.
That I just accept.
And right, exactly. And of course, when you talk about dirty politics, the one movie that comes to mind because it's the corrective to dirty politics is All the President's Men.
Oh.
And I mean, of course, you can't talk about movies without political movies without talking about that. We don't have to belabor it, but All the President's Men, I think, is probably more relevant than it ever has been. And I don't know that there's another movie that's 40, 50 years old, that's as relevant as All the President's Men is.
I accept it,
today.
except it's not an election movie.
It's, well, you know, it does.
I mean, it's politics. You've just taken us to a different level.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. I
think-
like it. It's a good one.
Well, it is. I mean, it is an election movie because Watergate was about rigging the next election, right? He was trying to get dirt on the
Of
Democrats
course, yeah.
for his. It was CREEP, the Committee to Re-elect the President. So
Well, this is typical cinema classics. We just don't ever stay on a topic. if we
sorry
don't
about
want
that.
to,
Sorry
right? No,
that
that's
I
I thought you were going to talk about 1997's Wag the Dog.
no. Which I did tell me about it because I saw it when it came out. But
Yeah, Dustin Hoffman
I know De Niro,
deciding,
Barry Levinson.
creating a war
Okay.
so that their candidate could be a war candidate, I think.
Mhm.
It seemed to be extreme manipulation.
Yeah.
I mean, creating a war, but then who knows how many elections have been based upon that.
Right. Right.
And then the really, outside of all this, really the fringy would be the Manchurian Candidate, right?
Yeah, that's crazy though.
I know.
I mean, it's not, that movie seems to be more of a psychological action thriller than a real
it does.
election movie. A movie that more recent that's not great, but might be worth revisiting. I would have to look at it again. Is The Ides of March with George Clooney and Ryan Gosling.
Wow.
Ryan Gosling is the aide. He's helping George Clooney get reelected. I think it's an Ohio race.
Oh, good
and
one.
of course, the young idealist comes up against the reality of, someone who's morally, ethically dicey, and his principles are necessarily corrected.
Yes, good one. Boy, I forgot that. What about, here's one where I think there's more idealism here than ever.
Mm-hmm.
The American President, and this would be with Michael Douglas
Yeah,
and Annette Bening.
right.
I think he gets a little bit involved with Bening, who's some kind of a publicist or whatever.
Yeah, whoops, sorry about that.
Right.
Go ahead, say that again.
I think he gets involved with an attractive publicist, Annette Bening, and who knows? I've been so long since I've seen it. That was
Right.
You're talking 1995.
Yeah, and I think this is a Rob Reiner movie, and it's
Yeah, exactly. Very good.
a romantic comedy.
Good.
Yeah, charming performances.
Charming. Yes.
Worth revisiting. I think if you really want to get down and dirty, a movie that is not ostensibly about American office, but what happens behind the scenes during an election is Election with Matthew Broderick and Reese Witherspoon,
Oh, my
and
God.
she is the feisty candidate for class president,
Oh,
and
very
all
good.
of the dirty machinations she goes through to make sure she wins.
Oh, very good.
Great black comedy. Alexander Payne. It's definitely a movie worth looking at again.
Well, I guess the one that always comes to my mind, because it is about election, but it isn't, and that's Altman's Nashville, 1975.
Oh wow, yeah, that is epic.
Isn't that great? I mean, me too. I look at that and I'm just not even interested in the election business. I'm interested in all the characters
Right.
who are peopling this movie.
Yeah,
Typical
remind me what the
Altman.
connection is.
There is a candidate, and there's going to be an assassination. It's not.
Okay.
It's not carried through, but Altman is much more in love with all the eccentric characters he can
Sure.
put on the screen than the fact that we have a senator or someone who is. There's a kind of Travis Bickle like, I think.
Okay,
Um,
it's been so long since.
Oh,
I've
I know,
seen it.
me too. And it is so sprawling. But I think you and Lily Tomlin, David Carradine.
Oh, the cast is amazing.
They're all great. So, I guess in the end, I like an election movie that doesn't talk too deeply about elections for me because it depresses me.
Right. And like every other movie, it's really about human nature. Right?
That's right.